So my friends, welcome back to a bit of Maths Medicine. Now in this video we're going to be going over how to mix rollers, drum and bass. Now I know we previously made a video on this, however it was a little bit brief. I want to go a bit more in depth as though you've just pulled your decks out the box and got them hooked up to your software. Now in this video we're going to be using Serato, but what I'm going to be doing on the decks will apply to all softwares. I think Deduced is one, Rekordbox. Those are the only two on top of my head, but yeah, I'm going to be keeping it very simple. I'll touch lightly on EQs. I have a whole other video about EQs, but I'll touch lightly on them. And yeah, all we're going to really be using in this one is the play, the jog wheel, and at the end I will be going over cues on how to set them up and make life easier for yourself with the cues. So my friends, let's get right into it. So you've got your decks out, all hooked up, staring at your waveforms, and you're thinking, where on earth do I begin with mixing these tracks into each other? So, for a moment, I want you guys to just stop using your eyes, start using your ears, and we're going to listen to how a drum and bass track breaks down and works. As fundamentally, if you're just staring at the waveforms, you're not going to be able to mix them in, as, you know, that's not what you're mixing off. You're mixing off the song, not what you're looking at. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how each track, because I know you're probably staring at this thinking, hang on a minute, this is jump up, not rollers. I've come here for rollers, but each drum and bass track pretty much across the board applies in this 32 beat pattern, and how you can mix within that 32 beat pattern and will make your life much easier for yourself. So for example, you can mix jump up into rollers, rollers into jungle, then jungle back into jump up, you know, and create a little cycle of just mixing all drum and bass subgenres and shit into different areas and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this 32 beat pattern. I'm going to split it up into 4 sections of 8 beats. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for you guys to hear the 32 beat pattern, and then once you're hearing it, it will make a lot easier for you to mix the next track in, get it double drop in, and get it sounding nice. So I've lined it up with the start of the drop here. So what I've done is I've just gone through, listened. I know that's the start of the drop because that's on the beat of the drop. So notice how this drop breaks down, like I say, into 4 8-beat sections, and we will hear the same bass line, if you like, 4 times. I'm going to count them on my fingers for you guys. Notice how on the second one, the halfway house of 16 beats between 32, obviously the second one, 8, 8, bit of maths for you guys. There'll be a slight, not a riser, but a change up, and then on the 4th one, there will be a riser into the next 32 beats. But once again, we will listen for the 4 8-beat sections, and we will go from there. 1, 2, 3, 4. So notice how there was a riser, and when I went 4, it switched up and you felt the energy come back. That's because there was a riser again, and that's when you're going to want to start mixing your next track in. Now you might have noticed as it went past, there's a cue point set up there. Now we counted out 4 beats of 8. Now we know that's the 32 beat section, as that's when our last 4 8-beat ended. So what we're going to do is we're going to set our cue points. It's very simple. All you do is hit cue points. If you want to remove cue point, hold shift, hit the pad, and it will take the cue point away, and then to put it back, obviously hit the cue point. So we now know that's the 32 beat pattern that we want to be into mixing our other drum and bass track, if you like. So we're coming over to Veteran over here. Now I'm going to show you in the intro how this also breaks into the 32 beat pattern. However, it's a little bit harder to hear it in an 8-beat section, so we're going to listen for it in into the 16 beat section. As you will notice, halfway between the intro there will be a slight change up of the intro. You'll see what I mean. Like I say, we listen for it. It's better to listen than explain. Build. That's the 16 beats left, because you had a little riser, and you now know that that's going to probably sound exactly what you just heard 16 beats ago. There you go, another riser. That's the start of your 32 beats. Now if you're still unsure on where the start of your 32 beats are, you can use the loop section. Now, I understand not many of you will have a loop section, particularly on your deck if you're using the Hercules 200 or you know, just a fun hobby party mixer. So on the screen, if you want to click 32 beats onto your loop section, and then just use your jog wheel to go back onto the loop and see if that takes you to the drop. Now, as you can see, it has taken us to the drop, so we know that's in our 32 beat pattern. Once again, if you want to double check this, you can go back right to the start of the song, hit your 32 beat loop, and then see if it takes you to your 32 beat switch up that we counted in just a minute ago. And as you can see, it does take us to that cue, so we now know that we are in the 32 beat pattern that we want to be in. Now, before I go and show you how we're going to double drop these tracks together in this 32 beat pattern, I want to point out not all tracks will start right at the start. So for example, this track Gunshot, now you'll notice how even though, there you go, you can hear it now, even though it has this funny little riser to begin with, fun little sound effect if you like, it doesn't actually start the track till they're in the 32 beat pattern. So you just want to make sure beforehand that all your tracks start, and once again, if you want to double check that's in your 32 beat pattern, go on to the loops, and then go into your loop, go back, and then it will take you forward. You can see, has that taken us down? Yes, it has. And then if we want to just go again, we can see that takes us to the drop. So once again, just be careful, not all tracks will start right at the start, so you just want to go through and listen. We're going to quickly listen for the 8 beat section on this track and how it splits into 32, so I can point it out to you guys even easier, and then we're going to mix all 3 in together. That'll be fun. Right. 1. 2. Notice that's the 16 beat flip up. 3. Drop. Well, it's not the drop, but my bad. You see what I mean? That's the change of the 32 beat, if you can hear it. So hopefully that was a little bit easier pointed out. So what I'm going to do is, we're just going to start Calm Before the Storm in the drop, like I pointed out. If you remember how we got to this bit, the 32 beats we went through by counting for 8 beat sections, we know that this cue point is where we want to start this track, as like if you remember, the 16 beats in is where there's sometimes a change up. So what we're going to do is, before I start this track, hopefully you're still with me guys, we're going to count 16 beats in, just to double check this is where we want to start the song. So that's the 16 beats, and then it should change up now. There we go. So then we can go back to our cue point, and now it's very easy. We've got our cue point over here to 32 beats, cue point over here to 32 beats. I'm going to pull this track out, and then we're going to mix them in. So before I mix them in, I just want to point out your low is your bass, your mid is your vocals, and your high is your hats. Oh, my bad, that means start that. There we go, and start them now. So, listen to this. That's the 18 beat. Coming over here. We know we're now in the 32 beat section. Pull this one out. And then start your track here. Now you're forgetting about that one. That one is done. And then all it is a matter of then blending this one in. And just like that, you're then on to your track. But yeah, hopefully that has pointed out the 32 beat sections for you guys. And like I say, just using cues, the play buttons, and the EQs to mix into each other. Like I say guys, it's very fundamental just to listen to that 16, 8-beat and 32-beat breakdowns, and once you've got familiar with that, you can start hitting your cue points up, making it a lot easier for yourself to just start the track, play the track, mix the track in. No beat matching required. All it is hitting cue points, pressing play at the right time, and then EQing it all together. So my friends, hopefully that has helped in some way. Now if you've got any more questions or things like that, please do feel free to leave it in the comments. Reach out to me on Instagram, social media. I will respond on there and we will go from there. Without further ado, my friends, any more questions on where to buy tracks, you know, EQing, I've got a couple more videos up on the channel. I will leave links to them in the description. They might be on screen for you now, who knows. Without further ado, my friends, big love for making it through this far in the video. Hopefully it's helped in some way. Please consider liking, subscribing, all that shit. Without further ado, peace out.